Now, welcome back. We're going to look at our next technique. And our next technique appears in patterns and it's simply called Make One. Now there are three versions of a Make One. There's a Make One. There's a Make One leaning to the left and a Make One leaning to the right. And we will do them on separate rows. So on this first row we are simply going to make one, and we're going to do it just 3 stitches in. So we're going to do it on the 4th from the beginning and 4th from the end, or between the 3rd and 4th, and between the 3rd and 4th at that side, just so that we leave the centre alone for a little bit, and you can see this technique quite clearly on its own. So knit 3 stitches, now the basic make one and involves us picking up the little strand of wool which passes from one stitch to another, and the easiest way of doing it is to put your left hand needle into it from the front, pick it up and drop it on the right hand needle. So we've just picked it up and dropped it on the right hand needle and we have made one. It's got a little hole below it at the moment. We're not going to worry about that, and we're going to knit until we are 3 stitches from the end. Remember, we're leaving the middle untouched at the moment just to let the increases that we've done there spread out a little. So we're moving the increases that we're doing around the space that we have to work with, and we're almost there. Now we're 3 from the end. We're going to look for that little strand of yarn there which is between the front and back. Using the point of our left hand needle, we're going to pick it up and pop it on the other needle and knit to the end. Now we have 2 extra stitches. So that we can see exactly where they are and how they look, we need to purl back on the other side. So let's just do that. So we'll purl back on the other side. Actually, I should have paused as I did that. Force of habit, I just knit away and I don't even think about it. That's my first 3. Here's the one that I picked up, and you notice that it's pointing that front leg towards me, so that I want to quite naturally just purl it. That's exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to keep going until I come to the other one, which will be the 4th stitch from the far end. Remember, we're giving the middle of the work a rest. We increased into it so many times a while ago that we want to give it a little rest. Now, here it comes. We are 4 from the end. You can see our picked up stitches there. We go in as if to purl it, and then the 3 that take us to the end, and we can turn this round and look at our work to see exactly what it looks like. So when we turn it round, if we look at this side, you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, we have that extra stitch, and it has a small hole below it, but that hole looks as if it's part of a stitch. So that's not too bad. It's left a little hole, but it has given us that extra stitch. And if we look at this side, it's done exactly the same thing. You can see where the little extra hole is, and we've purled it now, so it's just become an extra stitch. And that's absolutely fine. So that's a make one. A very easy way of increasing. Now, we're going to make one, and we're going to make that one lean to the left. So what we're going to do this time is we are going to pick up the strand and we're going to knit it in the same row. So 1, 2, 3. We can see where our strand is. We're going to pick it up, and now that we've picked it up, we're going to knit it. Now, if I knit it that way, it's going to leave a hole just like the one before. If I knit into the back leg of what I've picked up, I force what I've picked up to twist itself closed, and if you look, that particular strand of yarn is leaning towards the left. We can see where our strand is. We're going to pick it up, and now that we've picked it up, we're going to knit it. Now, if I knit it that way, it's going to leave a hole just like the one before. If I knit into the back leg of what I've picked up, I force what I've picked up to twist itself closed, and if you look, that particular strand of yarn is leaning towards the left. So let's knit to the other end of the work. And when we get to the other end of the work, we're going to make it lean to the right. Okay, so we've made this one lean to the left. When we get to the other end of the work, we're going to make it lean to the right. Now this will feel a little unusual, but after I've done this demonstration, you're going to repeat the entire process a couple more times. So, we're now ready. We're 3 from the end, and there's what we would normally pick up, but instead of picking it up from the front, this time we're going to pick it up from the back. So instead of picking it up from the front, we're going to pick up from the back. Last time we knitted into the back leg. This time I'm going to hold that steady with my finger to stop it sliding around, and I'm going to knit into the front leg, and that's going to make it twist. And if you have a look, oh sorry, I didn't slide that off properly, you'll see that what I've done is pointing in that direction, and there's what we would normally pick up, but instead of picking it up from the front, this time we're going to pick it up from the back. So instead of picking it up from the front, we're going to pick up from the back. Last time we knitted into the back leg. This time I'm going to hold that steady with my finger to stop it sliding around, and I'm going to knit into the front leg, and that's going to make it twist. And if you have a look, oh sorry, I didn't slide that off properly, you'll see that what I've done is pointing in that direction. Missed a thread. That's what happens when you split your yarn sometimes. So the twist is going in the opposite direction this time. 2, 3. So that one doesn't appear to have a hole below it. It's there because we've twisted it, and the twist on the leg is pointing in that direction. It's leaning to the right. So if we go back to this one, it's there and it's leaning to the left. On this side, it's leaning to the right. So let's purl a row, and then you can do the same thing again, just for practice. Now, you're going to ask, can you pick up and make these twists on a purl row? Can you make one purl-wise? The answer is yes, you can. It's exactly the same process. You pick up the strand between two stitches and you knit into either the front or the back leg, forcing the yarn to twist so that you get a twisted stitch on the front which closes up any little hole which may have appeared in your work and makes it very neat and tidy. So just taking our time to knit back along here. And we'll have one more look at these finished increases. So we've done a basic make one, a make one leaning right, and a make one leaning left. Or a make one leaning left and a make one leaning right. So from this side, our first one is left leaning, and if we look at it, 1, 2, 3, there it is, and you can see it's just leaning to the left and no more. And if we come to this side, 1, 2, 3, and if we look at it, it's right there, and that little strand is leaning to the right, but it's almost invisible. So make one left, make one right, off you go.